video, you are likely looking to learn how to make soy wax candles. Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Cornelia. I am a creative entrepreneur, small business owner, and a YouTuber who is looking to help you live your dream life. In today's video, I'm gonna break down my step-by-step process of making soy wax candles. I've been running my small business, North Star Candle Co. for about 2.5 to 3 years now, and I have learned quite a thing or two about making soy candles. Working with soy is definitely a very unique process. It comes with its own set of challenges, but it is my favorite wax of choice, and I make all sorts of different scents with my soy wax candles. So I'm gonna break down my step-by-step process of how I make them. I've also linked below a how-to guide PDF that you can purchase off of our Etsy page in partnership with Living and Lifestyle. So it's North Star Candle Co. and Living Lifestyle, which is the blog that I run with my best friend. We have a lot of digital ebooks where we talk about, productivity, habit tracking, resets, routines. And so I thought, why not add a candle PDF into the mix? If I'm going to be teaching you via video, I would love to add a follow-along guide that you can download and reference whenever you want without having to watch this video. So take a look at the link below. It is linked down there and it's at a very, very, very affordable price. I'd love to make more PDFs like that, in terms of like a marketing guide, potentially a profit margin guide, just all of the tricks I've learned along the way of running a candle business. So thank you for being here. Let's not waste any time and let's dive right into my step-by-step process.
All right, let's get started. So first step, you're gonna need your wax melter, your scale, and your thermometer, along with your wax of choice. So first you set them all up, plug in your wax heater so that you have it warming up as you go. You're going to want to set your scale to 0. I always make sure it's on pounds. You're going to want to tare it, which basically just means that once you put the pot on it, it goes back to 0 so you can measure properly. I will typically make candles in batches of 3 pounds of wax. So I'll start by scooping up the wax just with my pot there. And then sometimes it's not exact, so I'll have to put a little bit back or add a little bit more. And I've got a little shovel thing that I'll use basically just to make sure that it's even. And you want to make sure it's as close to 3 pounds as possible. I typically just use this number because that's what fits in my wax melter, but you can do whatever you want. This usually will make me about 5 to 6 candles at a time. So the first step in terms of adding your wax, you put it into the pot there. I will set the temperature to a desired heat that I know will melt the wax easily. The goal is to get your wax to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That's specifically my wax. Make sure to check yours, but you're going to want to be in that kind of 160 to 175 range. I aim to be at 165. Then once you've put the wax in, it'll begin to melt, and just keep an eye on the temperature as you go. Next step is getting your fragrance ready. So I'm pouring holiday candles. You'll see I've got a few scents here in my studio, but I'm going to be pouring my apples and evergreen scent, which is my cozy cabin scent. I will pick that up and then I will head over and measure my scent. So when you're actually deciding how much fragrance to put in, this is going to be based on what you want your fragrance load to be percentage-wise, how strong you want your candles to be, what type of wax you're using. So for me, I am using soy wax. You do need to use a little bit more fragrance just because it doesn't bind as well with soy wax because it is all natural. So I try to get an 8 to 9% fragrance load. I will write it down on the screen exactly how I did that. But basically for me, for 3 pounds of soy wax, I'm going to do 3.8 to 3.9 ounces of fragrance. And that is like my perfect ratio of wax to fragrance. Then once the temperature has hit your 165, 170 mark, you're going to want to pour your wax. Now you don't need your scent yet. You will pour your wax into your vessel, your large tin vessel, and you're going to want the temperature to be, like I said, around 165. Pour it in. Once it's at the desired temperature, if it's a little too hot, it's okay. You can let it cool down for a few minutes before you add the fragrance. You just don't want to burn the fragrance. So you pour it in, and then you can add your fragrance. Stir it for up to 2 minutes, just so that all of the fragrance binds to the wax. At that point, you're going to want to let it sit after you've stirred it. All the fragrance is mixed in with the wax. You're going to want to just leave it so that it cools down. I don't pour my candles until my wax gets to about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want it to cool down, just because if you pour it too hot, you're going to have really messy tops. And to get smooth tops, you want to make sure that your wax is cool. So in that time then, it usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes to cool down. It does take quite a bit of time. I will then go and prep my jars. And that means, just adding in my wicks to each one. That takes a bit of time depending on how many jars you're doing. I'll try to do a bunch at a time so that I can do like 3 to 4 batches of candles in, a couple hours. So I'll put in my wicks. Today I'm working with my cotton wicks because I'm doing my holiday scents. And while my wax is cooling down, this is what I'll be doing. And then once my wax has cooled down, it is time to pour. So I'll head on over to my pouring station and voila, there I start pouring the wax into the vessels. Some of these vessels are a bit bigger, so I think I only get about 4 to 5 per 3 pounds. But obviously the smaller the vessel is, the more candles you're going to get from 3 pounds. So yeah, I pour. And then the next step is to make sure that your wicks are not going to fall over, because then you're going to have wonky candles. So I will put little wick holders on them. I just use, oh my gosh, I can't remember what these stick names are called, but I will use those. And then it's time to just let them dry. And I will leave them overnight because it does take quite a few hours to actually have the wax solidify. And then the next day I'll come back and check them out. So I'm back the next day. As you can tell, I'm now taking off all of my clips so that I can start to cut my wicks. So I will line them up, and I honestly just use scissors to cut my wicks. I don't find that candle trimmers actually work that well, specifically with my wood wicks. Like cotton wicks are really easy to cut, but when you're getting into really thick wood wicks, you do want like a heavy duty pair of scissors, which I don't know, has always just worked for me. It's not like aesthetic or anything, but hey, it works. And then once I've trimmed them all, make sure the wicks are all even, it is time to label and clean up the candles. Luckily, these ones didn't really have any wax mess on them. Sometimes they do, and I'll, use a heat gun just to melt the wax and make sure they look all polished. But then I go into labeling. So I order my labels from Jukebox Print, which is a Canadian company. It's just the easiest option, honestly, in my opinion. And then I will label my candles, and from there they are done. I do find that I like to let them sit for a week or two just to fully cure and have that scent be as strong as possible. And yeah, this is the final result. And then after, the labeling's been done, they've been cured, I will go in and, take some content, do my marketing materials, and then I am ready to put them online and head to my markets.
And that sums up my step-by-step process on how I make soy wax candles. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment down below. I've definitely had a lot of trial and error over the years in terms of making my candles, so don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to hear from you. And if you're looking for any other sort of small business guides, comment down below as well, because I would really like to know, what other information are you looking for? What can I share about my journey and how I've gotten to where I am today? So thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.